Hey everyone, my name is Ty Smith. I am the host of the Data Up podcast, where we interview industry experts in the digital marketing space. And today we have a very special guest. She goes by the name Renee Bull. She's the founder of Helpful Digital Marketer, where she helps online business owners scale their business using ads. And today we had a very interesting conversation that I hope that you guys found immense value out of. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, Renee Bull.
We are live. All right, what's up, everyone? My name is Ty Smith. Welcome to the Data Up podcast. Today, I have the wonderful Renee Bull here with us. Welcome, Renee.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, awesome. So let's get into some of these questions that I have prepared for you. Um, what? So go ahead and tell us a little bit about your journey with advertising and how did you get into this space? What's led you here today?
Yeah, so I run a Facebook ads agency. Well, I guess it's a paid media agency now because we do TikTok ads too, but I got started in ads on an accident. I went to a conference in DC called Build Your Own Brand. And at the time, I had just quit my job as a flight attendant. And I was like, I just need to be around people who bet on themselves. I don't know. I was feeling very passionate. So I went to a conference and there was someone there talking about using ads to generate six figures a month. His name was Gamal Kodner, and he was the first person to expose me to paid advertising and the power of ads. And it just caught my interest. It was something that I wanted to learn more about. And then I became obsessed about it. And then I learned everything I could and started a business. And here I am, 5 years later on this podcast with you.
Awesome. So, uh, with a lot of like starting off, because obviously ads, learning, especially Facebook ads, and just I guess advertising in general, it's kind of a hard field to break into. Especially like obviously, there's no way to actually know if something works or if you can actually, I guess, like see if it works until you spend money. Is one of those things like you can't just practice or like other fields, you just can't practice and make something out of it. You have to actually spend money to make it. So I guess like what was like your what was one of your first projects of like you getting into that and understanding like how the Facebook ads actually worked, and then also, um, yeah, I guess like what was one of your first projects that led you to this point?
Yeah, I think it is tough in the beginning because you have all of these theories, but you need someone to let you spend their money, or you have to spend your own money. At the time, I didn't have any money. So I was like, who can I convince to let me spend their money? And that person was my brother. So shout out to Jeremiah. He has a company called Bull Fitness, and at the time, he was a personal trainer. He was doing in person training in Hawaii. And so I was giving him a lot of advice about organic marketing just from things that I had observed and some of the courses I was taking. And he was applying those strategies and they were working. And so I would say, like, the first step is like, giving advice, giving actionable advice to somebody that will apply it, that will then get results, that will garner you more trust. So I think at the time I got enough trust from him to let me start then spending money, his money. And that was really how I got my start into paid ads as far as getting real results in real time. So I was able to start generating data, start to test a lot of my theories. A lot of them didn't work. A lot of them actually sucked. So that was fun. But thankfully, I was with someone who was in the beginning of their business too. Like, I would say we both had nothing to lose. And so I think that that was really the blessing of it, is that he was looking for more clients and I was looking for a way to um, I was looking for a way to see if what I knew worked. So I was able to apply that for his business. And, in a few months' time of just like trial and error, we were able to create enough traffic and engagement and reach on the island. He became one of the most sought after personal trainers on Oahu. And so I would say, you know, it all paid off, but in the beginning it was a lot of mistakes made. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that most definitely. Kind of had the same or similar path, I guess, in that way of just like I didn't have any money when I first started off, so I definitely wasn't going to be able to spend any of my money to test or figure out like what's going to work. So I had to convince somebody to um, let me spend their money or become a part of something. And I didn't go the exact route that you went, but I ended up working for an agency for free, and that's kind of how I
Mm.
get a lot of my firsthand experience to get to that point. So yeah, it's definitely interesting and unique to see like how you went about it and how we had like a similar path in that way. So that's what's up. And then kind of like walk us through. So then you started running ads for your brother in the beginning. What was that transition like, or when did you start like acquiring clients for yourself? And how did that go in the beginning stages?
That's a good question. I would say one, I realized, wow, I don't have any money working with one client. So, especially because I was working with my brother. So it wasn't like he was paying me a whole bunch of money, So I think it just dawned on me like, oh, I need to get more clients now if I'm going to do this full time and be able to afford a livelihood. And so that put me in an uncomfortable position because I was like, okay, what do I do now? Like, I just wanted to learn how to run ads. I didn't know about acquiring clients and setting up systems and sending invoices. Like, I was just with my brother and I was like, I need some money. And he was sending me money, maybe like transferring it to me. Like, it wasn't a business at that point. So I got really overwhelmed, I think, at the fact that I realized I was very poor and very passionate though. But that fueled a fire in me to start talking about what I was doing. So I wasn't making any money, but I was starting to get results for my brother. And so I leveraged the results I was getting for him to tell people, hey, this is what I'm currently doing, and this is what I'm going to be able to do for your business. And I just started talking about it on my Facebook and on my Instagram. I hadn't really talked about business much, but honestly, I just started talking about it every day and just letting people know, like, I can help you if you have a business. And so then slowly, like, family friends started reaching out to me. I started to get more like just traction with people online who would see me posting about it. And so really that's how I got started and how I got my first couple of clients is literally just talking about the things that I was able to achieve because my brother gave me the opportunity to work with him on his business.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
that's yeah, that's definitely a way to start. And I think yeah, honestly, it just when it comes to I feel like when it comes to this field, it's all about just like being, especially when you don't have, I guess, like the experience at first. You just have to have the confidence that you'll be able to figure it out as you go. And that's like kind of been like my testament as well to like figuring out this advertising space and marketing space. It's just like I may not know exactly how I'm going to do this or what it is that I have to do right off bat or have the experience necessarily, but I'll figure it out. And that's like I feel like that's been probably like the best way to build experience and to become competent in what it is that you want to do. And then competent, obviously, being competent builds your confidence and then allows you to present yourself in a way that people trust what it is that you say, and you're able to speak from a place of confidence with that. So I think
Yeah, I agree.
okay, my bad. There was a delay here. We will edit this part because there's some sort of
Yeah,
delay going.
you're lagging a little.
Yeah, yeah. It's first time around. We're okay, cool. So I guess like my next question for you, what is the biggest misconception you get about running ads for your clients? Or like what's the biggest like roadblock that people get um like that people put up when you're trying to present to them why ads would be a good decision for their business? Like especially like with people that are probably already having a lot of success organically. Like how do you convince them, or what's like your point of view that you go into when letting them know that ads can be even more beneficial than what they're already doing organically?
I think the thing I learned early on is not to convince anyone of anything. I think my lane, especially now as someone who is very certain about the strategies that I'm able to implement with businesses, is that I'm not here to convince, but I am here to present information and present another, I would say, route to get to your desired outcome. So when I talk to people, I make it really about them and what is your goal. And if you want to do that organically, I'm sure it can happen. But depending upon what your goal is and how much time you want to put into it, this is something that can amplify your efforts. This is something that can accelerate your efforts to get you there. And so I would say the first thing is do not try to convince anyone of anything. Simply present the information and make sure it's grounded in um, I would say like results. Like I'm very data driven. So when clients come to me, I'm like, hey, here's what we can do, here's what we have done. Is this something that sounds good to you? Is this something that you're willing to invest your money in, because we have the data to prove that it does work? But I think that it's always going to be an uphill battle if you are trying to convince people, because with paid ads, there has to be a willing participant. Like you have to be willing to invest because it does take time. So I think, I guess the biggest misconception that I have had to tackle throughout my years of doing this is that people don't give themselves, their business, their ads enough time to perform, to stabilize so that they can optimize it and truly see the results that um, they could have in their business, in their launch, in their offers, with their services, with their products. They just don't give themselves enough time. So I think I try to be very straightforward and very honest with people about what they can expect and also the things that they need to do in order to achieve certain levels of success as it pertains to paid ads. So I think that answers your question, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It does. And kind of going in that direction, like what um I guess like what are some of the, like if you had to name like some key factors to campaign being successful, what are some of the things that people should be putting there for someone, say for someone that's new into the ad space and they're starting to run ads for their business? What are some of the key things that that individual should be focusing on to make sure that they have the most to have a successful campaign starting off?
I think you should identify what it is you're running ads for. I think a lot of people start running ads and they have no idea what their objective is. And the first thing I ask people is like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get more sales? Are you trying to get more leads? What are you trying to do? Because there becomes this misconception too of like, I just need to put my ads on and then like magic happens. And it's like, yeah, but it has to be tied to this outcome that you want. If we don't I properly identify the goal, then we can't set up the ad campaigns to then effectively hit that goal. So I think establishing a goal is really important. There are people that launch ads, but they're already burnt out or overwhelmed in their clientele. So you really didn't need to launch ads. You probably needed to like put together some systems. And so identifying what your goal is really important. And then I think once you have identified what your goal is, it's really important that you understand who your audience is, because targeting plays a really big part into this. And so if you don't know who your ads are supposed to be getting in front of for you to be able to convert them into leads or purchasers, then you're going to end up spending a lot of money just showing your ads to people who have no intention of opting into your offer or purchasing anything from you. And so I think there has to be a basic understanding, one, of your business to in a very deep way of like, who is it that resonates with your offer, with your positioning, with your business, and then being able to then understand how to launch ads properly, I think is very important as well. And also understanding that boosting ads is not running ads, which is like a whole nother podcast in itself. But I think really it comes down to taking the time to do the research before jumping in and feeling good about spending money on something that you haven't really mapped out so it can be as successful as possible.
Okay. And I do want to touch on what you said though there briefly about the boosting ads thing because I have other business owners and entrepreneurs come to me and say they've ran ads before and they tell me that they just boosted some posts and then they kind of have that be their first impression of like what it's like running ads on Facebook, which I obviously is not not an accurate assessment of what it's actually like. So
Yeah.
I guess like go into like what's the difference between boosting a post and actually running a full on ad and why should someone like or an entrepreneur, uh, coach, consultant, anybody, comes someone like you instead of just boosting a post when yeah, I guess if that makes sense. What's the benefit? What's the benefit of boosting a post versus actually running a full ad campaign? I think I got that like mixed.
I was I would say boosting a post is going to give you vanity metrics. And so that's like a huge misconception too, is that if I just reach more people, I will then automatically gain more sales in my business. And this is not true. So I think one of the biggest things that people need to understand is you don't make more sales by just reaching more people. You make more sales by reaching more people who have the intent to purchase. And you can only identify that, and not even identify that, you can only define that in Ads Manager. And so the very action of trying to find buyers who are then going to turn into purchasers can only be defined through accurate targeting, which is only going to allow it's only going to be able to be possible in the Ads Manager. And so one of the things that I spend a lot of my time doing is educating people on why it is so easy to boost your post, because Facebook knows, Instagram knows, Meta knows that if they can feel like they're empowering you to spend money to increase your reach with the perception that it will then increase your sales, you're going to throw hundreds, some people thousands of dollars at it. But with the actual knowledge of understanding that you want to make sure that your tracking is set up through your Facebook pixel, which you don't need if you're boosting your post, and that the tracking is something that is going to actually help you to optimize your ads at a different level so that you can really see consistent results. I've also think that the big misconception too is like some people get lucky boosting their posts. Are like, I did make a sale. And I'm like, yeah, you got lucky. That's really great. But it's not a repeatable process. It's not a strategy that you can implement for the rest of your business, right? These things can only be applied if you're actually in Ads Manager running ads, not boosting your post and maybe getting lucky every now and then. And so I truly think that if business owners take the time to be well informed and also not um, lean too much into like a feeling of I've reached more people, so I know that my business is going to start making more money. Like, really, just getting the information of like, it really has to happen in Ads Manager. Then we'll see a lot more people take the time to understand how to run ads for themselves, for their business, and really see like the increase that they deserve. Because I truly believe every business deserves that, to see success in every area of their business. But they got to take the time to get the information, the right information.
Yeah, yeah, and I completely agree. I also understand that like sometimes, or I know that the business manager, ad manager, that whole space back there can be extremely complicated. I understand why Facebook
Yeah.
made the boosting post. It was basically just a way for people that are not as familiar with the space to get them into the I guess into the bigger area for them to work with people like us eventually down the line when they want to get more into the advanced I guess like more of the advanced area of the business manager.
I think it's
Um,
a money grab. I honestly just think it's a money grab. I just think it's an easy way to make millions of dollars from people who are clueless.
exactly. I I've low key I've not thought of it that way, but low key it is exactly like that. Like because I everyone that I've talked to so far, like they're always investing money into that and they're thinking that it's doing something, but they're literally
Yeah.
if Facebook even if it's only $10 that Facebook is getting from you, but they're getting that from 100 million other people, that's a
It's
lot of money that they're making.
a money grab. It's a money grab. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah. So, and I like the direction that this conversation is heading. So, talking more like going into the business manager and more of the advanced side of running ads. What do you feel about the importance of having, I guess, the importance of creative over like technical strategy? Which one do you feel like is more important? I know both of them are important and they work well together, but which one do you feel like in the direction of where Facebook is heading now? Do you feel like creative is more important or technical strategy is more important?
It's interesting. I feel like this is like an ongoing debate, but only between people who run ads. Like the normal person doesn't care about this conversation. So I find it interesting, but I'll have it. I, I think I think both matter. So I know there's a lot of people who will post a creative. So like a creative would be a picture or a video or a GIF, whatever the ad is. And they'll be like, I don't do any targeting. I just do broad audience. And I'm like, that's amazing. But I also think that is very like dependent upon the niche that you're running ads for as well. And so I think a lot of the strategies that are like promoted online are very much like specific to a niche. And that's why they're seeing success. And the niche that I work with a lot of online coaches and conferences. And so what we find to work, and I like to only speak about the experiences that I have and the data that I have to support my theories. In my experience and in the campaigns that I run and manage, targeting is necessary. A creative has to be strong, but I think at the forefront of it, we really do rely on targeting because if I'm running ads for a tech conference, I don't need a broad audience. I need to find people who are interested in this specific niche of tech. And so being able to target softwares that I know people in tech like and different platforms that I know people in tech visit and spend time on is very essential. Having that creative is important as well. And that's why I say they go hand in hand. I'm not one of those people who are like just amazing creatives and do broad targeting and you will get the results you want. I don't truly believe that in the niche that I work in. Has it worked for people? Yes. That's why I'm a really big believer in test everything and let the data tell you what's working. And that's my answer.
Yeah, yeah. I've started like in the beginning, in the like when I was learning a lot about Facebook ads and stuff like that. There's like so much information out there and so many people that you could listen to, and it can be so confusing and like an echo chamber when you're trying to figure out like what actually works and like what doesn't work because everyone has a different opinion on what might potentially work. You could try this strategy, or you need to be focusing on just creatives or stuff like that. And it can be hella confusing. But like you said, I feel
Mhm.
like the only way really to really get that down is to actually just like you said, just test and see what the data actually tell you. It's the only way to actually figure it out because you can listen to 100 different YouTube videos and podcasts and people telling you all these different things, but the only way to know what's going to work specifically for you and your business is to actually test it out yourself and then go about it that way.
Yeah, there are people now who swear that static images don't. There was a time where for like 2 years people were like, static images don't work and we need to run videos. And then like we had high converting static images and I was like, I mean static, creatives and I was just like, I'm not listening to y'all. Like I take in the information, but I still rely on data. Like I'm not going to not do something because someone else told me it didn't work for them. I would rather apply it if I think it's a good idea and then look and see what the data presents. So that's what I would offer is like be more data driven than concerned about what isn't working for someone else. Like be very dedicated to reading and relying on data to make decisions as an ads manager because
Yeah,
that will always, I feel like, bring you out on top.
yeah, and even to touch on that point, like I was recently doing a consultation for a business, and the agency that they were working for previously before they started talking to me was that they swore by that videos was the best way for them to go. So they're running nothing but videos and no static images. but yet their ROAS is like 0.5. So and they're just like swearing by it that it's the best way to go, and it's just like, okay, but if they're not making the money back, like you have to implement something else. So that's it's a bad way to go to like listen to one thing and then just run with that and then think that's the only way to do it. It's not. Facebook is always
Yeah,
constantly doing new things, and you gotta stay hip to it if you want to see the results that you want to see. So
100%.
awesome. So now going into my next question, what do you think? Or actually, I wanted to ask you, what are some of the tools or things that you like to use? I already know what one of these are, to help better your like ad campaigns or things that you like to use to, I guess, like see better results overall. Like, what are some of the things that you like to use to better your ad campaigns?
Yeah, so in the last year, we've started relying on first. Uh, I just got tongue tied. We started relying on Hyros, so we've implemented. I think Hyros into our campaigns has helped us see a lot of data that we were lacking because of the iOS updates, and I think the tools that we use. I feel like that's the biggest tool. I mean, we do a lot of our tracking. Um, we do a lot of our tracking with Hyros. We do a lot of our tracking with Facebook Pixel as much as we can, but it gets tricky when it comes to the conversion side of things, especially depending on what platform you're using. And so, I think for me, I'm always open to whatever tool is going to give me the most accurate depiction of the results.
Yeah.
So I really want to find out what's happening and why things are happening so I can make decisions. I hate not having data. I'm very um, I'm very reliant on data. And so anything that gives me more visibility into the performance of an ad campaign is something that I'm going to 100% be behind. And so I think using that, I would be interested to explore more about what is it called? I'm interested to see more about other tools that can help me get more data. I need to eat, sorry.
Um,
But yeah.
yeah, just real quick, could you give like a brief like explanation of like what high rose is to like the average person that wouldn't understand like what a software like that does?
Yeah, I guess they refer to it in the industry first party data tracking. So it integrates directly into the platforms that you are using. So for example, when you're running Facebook ads, um, I would say historically you've put a pixel on a website and then it's tracked the information of like who's paying you through Stripe or who's paying you through PayPal, who's converting. All of that data is like running through Facebook from your website. And so because of the iOS updates, a lot of that information now is not visible or it's just inaccurate. And so like some of the data will come through, some of it won't. So now there's options for platforms like Hyros where you can integrate directly with like your payment processor. So we integrate directly with Stripe, directly with Teachable or Kajabi or whatever the platform is, so that when a person sees the ads and goes to purchase, all of that data is more accurate and visible on our side. So it just gives you visibility of the customer journey. When they saw the ad, where did they go next? When did they purchase? And once you know all of that information, you can make better decisions on how to optimize your ads, where to put your money and time into as far as like targeting goes specifically, and creative. So that's what we've been using to help our clients scale to 6 and 7 figures this year.
Awesome, awesome. And speaking of tools, that brings me into my next segment. With the rise of like artificial intelligence and just AI technology in general, have you found any use or benefit in help using it to help your company grow, or have you not found like yeah, I guess have you found any use in AI tech at the moment to help your company at the time?
100%. I think AI is great. I think it should be leveraged. I don't think that it's going to necessarily like replace anything that my team is doing right now, but it does help us to enhance the things that we're doing for our clients. And so, for example, I know I was doing some ads planning for a client and I used AI to generate some possible audiences that we could target by just asking them, like, hey, this is the offer. What do you think? Who do you think we should target when it comes to paid advertising? And it generated like a list. And so I think it's really helpful. It could be like it's like a little sidekick, like, especially if you're feeling, you know, just like, okay, I just need to get going. I need to start. It can be asking AI the right questions. Like I use chat GPT, and also Notion AI is really great too. We've been using Notion AI to do some really cool stuff, like um, we'll transcribe a video and then put the transcription in Notion and then ask Notion to create a blog post out of the transcribed video, and then use the blog post that AI generates to create an email to then promote the blog post to our email subscribers. So there's just so many little things that you can do, I feel like, to make your workflow more efficient and save you a bunch of time. So I think, like, again, just about like leveraging it and helping you do the things that you're already doing better. Yeah.
And I agree. AI has definitely been beneficial and helpful too. I guess like getting, I guess, little tasks that you don't want to do out of the way, and also just to something that you would typically delegate or have to like give to someone else to be like, hey, can you write this up or like do this thing? AI can help you get that done a lot quicker. Not to say that it replaces that person that you have in place to help you with those things exactly, but it can just help you, like you said, get a better starting point and get things moving a lot more quicker and more efficient. Have you heard of this thing? I heard it from one of my business partners. It's called like AI agents, where it's like it goes beyond just it goes beyond just being able to you typing up a prompt. It's actually like it can go out on the internet and like do things for you if you give it a task to like go do something for you. Have you heard of those?
I've heard of someone talking about that on TikTok, but it sounded like he was lying. But I haven't seen it in real time.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that interesting. I feel like I honestly I feel like there's a lot of underdeveloped things happening in this I guess in this world right now with AI. So until it's obviously becoming advanced really quickly, but yeah, with things like that, I'm also like a little shaky on until it's a more solid thing. I'm not sure if I'd want an AI agent going out to do certain tasks on my behalf like that without me like knowing without me reviewing the results of what it is that it's doing before it submits that work or
Yeah, I feel like I would be more worried.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, next one is what are some of the struggles that you've had when I guess like what are some of the common or most recent struggles that you've been having running ads, and how have you overcome some of those uh, I guess difficulties and challenges?
Visibility. It's always been, even with us using first party tracking, there are times where it doesn't work. There's just times where things don't work. And they should, and they don't. And you still have to make smart decisions, and you still have to get results for clients. And so there are times where the copy, the creative, everything seems like it would convert, and it doesn't. And so I think I don't know if these are like recent struggles as much as they are just like constant realities of being an ads manager and being a marketer. Is like you can't, one, you can never assume, right? Because the things that I always feel like this is going to be a breeze, there's always something that goes wrong or that doesn't convert as I had intended. And there's times where I'm like, we'll see if this works, and it ends up being the best campaign ever. And so I just think for me, staying like creative and sharp is always something that I have to prioritize, and that's a lot to do with like what I consume, what I prioritize during the day. Also, doing enough research on the different niches that my clients are in, and understanding like their market. Like that's always going to be a challenge because there is so much information that you have to constantly be consuming in order to be a very good marketer. And so, yeah, sometimes you just be tired, but your brain never shuts off. It's always thinking. Even if I'm scrolling on the internet, I'm like, oh, this is a nice ad. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna see it. Look, this is a nice copy. Like you're always thinking, you're always going, you're always strategizing. And so I would say like it's tough to turn your brain off sometimes when you are in this field of work.
Yeah, I do agree. Um, Going into my next question here, what do you 1 second. Yeah, I guess actually we can kind of touch back, going back into like creative development. Like when you just said like obviously one of the ways that you go about finding like inspiration for ads is obviously when you're scrolling on the timeline and you see something that is interesting to you that you can take inspiration from. Are there any other like ways that you go about, I guess, pulling inspiration for your campaigns when it comes to like the creative side? Is there any other like techniques or things that you like to use to help you come up with those ideas?
There's so many things. I think one, I mean, being on social media is helpful. Like seeing in real time what is converting for people, whether it's an organic paid post or a paid ad, is super helpful. Um, I think me posting for the agency and seeing the organic interaction too on our post, it's helpful. I just think it's like it's a it's it's a lot of things. I think that I try to stay on social media because I feel like the best ads don't feel like ads. And so the only way to really know what content is going to work is to be in the spaces that content is being posted. And so like TikTok, I think is really great just to see like what's trending and what's happening. Like trends are happening so fast on TikTok. And I think Twitter is really fun because there's just a lot of smart marketers on there where you can just get interesting insights from them, like what's happening in their campaigns. And I think Facebook groups, another place I draw inspiration and am able to again hear back from other really smart marketers. I think one of the things that I do well is like I don't take myself too seriously. So I always think that there's something I can learn. And so I'm always in places where I feel like there are other people who feel the same way as me, and we're all like sharing and growing together. And so I think just online is a space of just opportunity to find buckets of people who are like willing to tell you everything about whatever is happening in their business. I'm the same way. So I would say Facebook groups, social media, different blog posts, YouTube are really great ways that I stay like one up to date because stuff is always changing, and I'm like, what? And then two, just like very inspired to continue to test and you know implement more strategies that could bring about great results for my clients.
Awesome. Well, that is that kind of concludes this first episode of the Data Up podcast. Thank you so much, Renee, for coming through and being one of our first guests on here. I really do appreciate it. Um, Before we hop off of here, are there any interesting things coming up for you? Anything that you'd like to promote or put out about yourself or upcoming, and also where can everyone find you as well?
Yeah, I would like to say that I post interesting things online, so you should follow me at Helpful Digital Marketer, pretty much on everything. Helpful Digital Marketer on Instagram and Helpful Digital Marketing. If you would like to get just some free resources, free trainings on how you can increase your leads and sales for your business. But yeah, Helpful Digital Marketer would love to chat with you. Shoot me a DM. Let me know that you watched the show, and we can take it from there.
Awesome. Thank you, Renee.